This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, other holders. Jeff Goodell, welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the register for today, February the 19th, is one of the most despised people in my mind. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of bias that I hate this guy. It seems to be that all four sports had commissioners that I really didn't like. Like, I didn't like Adam Silver in the NBA at first because, like, the NBA would always try to screw over the Raptors by giving them the first postseason game of the playoffs at 12:30 in the afternoon. Like, Toronto's an afterthought. But I've grown accustomed to his face, as the old saying goes. For baseball, I hated Bud Selig because, he didn't do enough to help the city of Montreal out, although it was the provincial governor's fault as well, but the fans just stayed away because the Expos were not that competitive. And Jeffrey Loria, after being Expos owner and then getting the Marlins, took him to the World Series. And in hockey, you know my feelings about Gary Bettman. Actually, you don't really, because I haven't really talked about Gary Bettman in any sports catastrophe, but still, hate the guy. So it is Roger Goodell. So anyway, he's been commissioner since 2006, which is pretty impressive. So it's 17 years. That's the length that Paul Tagliabue, the previous commissioner, had. And in fact, that's not the record. Pete Rozelle was commissioner from 1960 to 1989. So anyway, he's actually the son of a former congressman and U.S. senator. Okay, cool. So anyway, he was born in Jamestown, New York, and he was a three-sport star. And he went to Washington Jefferson College with a degree in economics. No big deal. So anyway, Roger Goodell was actually an administrative intern in the league office in the NFL under Pete Rozelle. He had a letter writing campaign and all that. In 1983, the Jets made him an intern, but he became an assistant in PR in 1984 for the league. And then in 1987, he was actually put assistant to the president of the AFC, that being Lamar Hunt, and under the tutelage of future commissioner Paul Tagliabue. He had a lot of roles. He was actually the NFL's executive vice president and chief operating officer in December 2001, meaning that he took responsibility for the football operations and officiating and supervised business functions. He would head NFL ventures about the business, the media, properties, marketing, sales, sales development, whatnot. And he was very involved in the negotiation of the CBA with the NFL PA and all that. And played a role in the expansion of realignment stadium development, including helping the NFL network. Okay. So anyway, Roger Goodell and Greg Levy were in a battle royal for the commissioner's spot and all that. He got the 2/3 majority, winning 23-8. Oakland abstained from voting in each round. They gotta give it to Levy yet? Well, anyway, Goodell was chosen to succeed Paul Tagliabue. So his actions as a commissioner were huge and all that. He believed that his primary responsibility as commissioner is protecting the integrity of the game and making it safe, protecting the shield, as it were. But a lot of criticism and all that. In fact, the Department of the Army gave him the third highest honor in 2014. Anyway, Roger Goodell would shut down NFL Europe, which was the spring league that between 95 and 2007 happened. And it was nice to see NFL stuff in Europe after the World League of American Football went nowhere after 2 years. But the weird thing was that by 2007, there were only 6 teams in the NFL Europe, and 5 of them were in Germany. You could have just expanded to other countries. However, Goodell did start the NFL International Series with regular season games held across the pond, starting in 2007. Anyway, player conduct, all that, be huge and all that. He made some key moves and all that. So anyway, he got tough with the personal conduct policy, not just the drug policy, but the conduct personnel. personally. You got Chris Henry and Pac-Man Jones suspended for long periods of the 2007 season, while Pac-Man was the entire season. Michael Vick was suspended for a while. Well, he was in jail too. Pac-Man Jones was given an indefinite suspension in 2008 for his conduct policy. Dante Stallworth got one for the entire 2009 season. Ben Roethlisberger got 6 games, but the personal conduct guidelines got him to only 4 games because of his motorcycle crash, I think. Danica Sue got a couple games. Ray Rice got a 2-game suspension for what he did to his wife. And then after the video came out, Goodell was painted in the corner and gave an extra 10-game suspension to Ray Rice. And it basically ended Ray Rice's career in the NFL. I mean, personally, I kind of am like, why would Ray Rice's wife stay with him after he basically beat the tar out of her and on TMC and in front of the whole world? Is she a gold digger? Probably not. But anyway. But of course, there was Spygate. He got in trouble because of Spygate. He disciplined the Pats and Bill Belichick after the Pats attempted to videotape the New York Jets' defensive signals in the first game of the season. Belichick was fined $500,000, which was the maximum. The Pats franchise was fined $250,000 and lost their first round pick in the draft. Goodell came down hard on the Pats because he felt Belichick's authority over football operations, while Belichick was head coach, is head coach / GM, was such that it was attributed to the Pats as well. Goodell wanted to suspend Belichick, but said that finding them and stripping of a draft pick was more effective than suspension. Yeah, I say kind of. But I also kind of had the funny feeling that this, like another controversy involving the Pats later on in Goodell's tenure, kind of was that, he was in the ear of all the other owners and all that. Regardless, yeah, the Pats got in trouble for their spying and all that. Yeah, I figure they deserved it. Anyway, Goodell was known for his work on the 2011 NFL lockout, but he settled the lockout just in time for the season to start. Excuse me. However, he did hold conference calls with season ticket holders discussing the CBA and had question and answer sessions. So, he kind of did something right. Anyway, Bounty Gate happened, and I have no doubt that he did this right. He said that players and coaches on the Saints had a bounty program on taking out key games. Because Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, administered the program, and 27 different Saints were involved. He suspended Williams indefinitely, but Williams was reinstated after 1 year off to be defensive coordinator of the Rams. Goodell gave Sean Payton a suspension for the entire 2012 season. General manager Mickey Loomis was suspended for 8 games, and assistant head coach Joe Fett for 6 games. The Saints were fined $500,000 and forfeited their second-round picks a couple times. Sanctions for players were not handed down at the time. But anyway, the referee lockout was huge because they couldn't come to a CBA for the referees. So replacement refs had to come in to start the 2012 season. So they had to have low-level college and high school officials do the games because the college officials wouldn't be brought in because, they had to do their own league. And I think the NCAA probably would have been bitchy. And many of the conferences barred their officials from making replacements anyway. Unfortunately, though, problems started. The referee issues, the referees made a lot of missed calls. Of course, the failed marry between the Packers and Seahawks in week 3 of that season actually was the catalyst to getting the referees back in action. Of course, Goodell is known for not taking player brain damages and concussions seriously. Concussions and CTE and all that. However, he did helped the NFL reach a $765 million settlement with the former NFL players over head injuries. So it worked out in a way. So anyway, and then Deflategate. Basically, the NFL suspended Tom Brady 4 games for his awareness of team officials deflating footballs. He upheld the suspension, citing the destruction of Tom Brady's cell phone as critical evidence that Brady knew something about something. Anyway. It was just disastrous and all that. Now, the suspension was vacated due to a lack of fair due process, and all that. So, he couldn't be suspended for the 2015 season. However, 2016, the Second Circuit of the U.S. Justice Law reinstated Brady's 4-game suspension. So, that was pathetic. And, as I say, I have a funny feeling that he needed to basically do something to the 31 other NFL owners. So he had to do something. I think he was trying to fuck over the Pats. The joke was on Goodell. As guess who won the Super Bowl? The Pats. The Pats actually went 3-1. I predicted the Pats would go 3-1 without Brady, and I was right. I would personally, if I were a Pats member, and I see Roger Goodell, I was like, get the fuck out, you UCS. But that's just me. Anyway, he also has issues with the U.S. national anthem protest because of Colin Kaepernick's kneeling at the anthem and all that. Goodell in 2018 said there would be a new policy requiring all players to stand during the national anthem or given the option to stay in the locker room during the national anthem. And any players who protested the anthem on the field would become subject to discipline. And then, of course, with the Black Lives Matter protest about George Floyd's murder and all that, he decided to recant it. Well, he's generally stupid. Anyway, Goodell married former Fox News anchor Jane Skinner and have twin daughters born in 2001, so they're 22 now. He has 4 brothers. Tim, who is senior vice president for Hess Oil and Gas. And he has a brother, Michael, who's married to Jack Kenny, so he's gay. So Roger has a gay brother. But anyway, that should dissuade you from everything. But yeah, Roger Goodell, as a commissioner, he's basically hit or miss in some sources. I think that basically he's just in to try to screw teams over and try to make more parity in the NFL. Who knows? But anyway, Roger Goodell has made a lot of mistakes in his role as the head NFL guy. I mean, not as much as Gary Bettman has with the NHL, but Bettman has been in office since 93, Goodell since 06, so yeah. Comparing the two, not really good. It's not apples and oranges, people. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond, I do.